I guess initially just starting out with some general stuff. You know, your at least public tracks go back about 2 or so years, maybe 2.5 years. With the first track being Razor Blades. Um,
Oh, did you listen to that?
I did listen to I had to do thorough research. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Listen, I have so many songs that are old that are still public, and I'm like, oh my god, why would anybody listen to those? I hate when people listen to those, but I won't make them private.
Yeah.
I just
No,
refuse.
Razor Blades was like it wasn't my first song because I made a scam rap song with my friend Missing,
Hell
who's
yeah.
like an ambient prod now, and he threw me the Summers preset. I don't fuck with Summers, but he threw me the Summers preset years ago and got me to record. And then Razor Blades probably like my third, fourth song. I just kept it up.
So it's still pretty early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you like? Well, if that's not your first, when did you? So was the scam rap? Was that like your first song that you had made like ever?
Yeah.
It's a great way to start things, really.
It's a good way to get used to how FL works.
Yeah, make something that's maybe not so serious.
Mhm.
That was what I did. The first song I made, I was so worried about being taken seriously and being like properly critiqued that the first song I made was just bullshit nothing, just a bunch of stupid ass bars with no weight behind them at all. I was like, hey, if I don't take it serious, no one else can either.
On God, that's the method. That's the method for your first few songs at least.
But what like initially got you into making music?
So it's gonna be a long answer if that's okay.
Literally as long as you want. This is your
Awesome.
time. You know, this isn't about
True,
me.
true, true.
People on this channel are already tired of seeing me. We got to bring in
Nah,
some
that's not
we got to
true.
bring in
That's
some
not
new
true. They here
faces.
for you. But I had friends, like online friends, and I was like a child when I still played CS:GO semi-pro, and I must have been like 11 to like 15 or something like that, like somewhere in that range. My memory's kind of fucked, but they all made music, and I never thought I could do it just because it seemed really fucking hard. And then like years down the line, I made a different group of online friends, and kind of I listened to LSD by Saturn when my friend sent it to me when that shit came out. And I was like, this shit is fucking insane. And then I went home a couple of days later. It wasn't the same day, but I was talking to my friend 1.2, and he had already started producing a little bit, not under 1.2, but he was in Ableton, he was making music. So he made it seem super possible. And then him and Missing kind of just like helped me start to make music, and I just found it super fun.
Yeah. So you was showing it's like, hey, I could. This is something that I could do.
Hmm.
Yeah. But and before we move on, you said something that caught my attention. CS:GO semi pro.
Yeah, it
Tell me
was
about
not a
that.
okay. So I I don't know how embarrassed I am gonna be of this later because this is information I usually don't tell everybody, but I have over all my accounts like over 10,000 hours in CS. It's all I did as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
a lot of my life.
I listen. I have about 1,500 hours, I'd say. So not quite as close to the
You get it though.
to
You
the.
get it though.
No, I understand to an extent. Like I get it. I've put a lot of time into that. Are you excited for CS:GO 2?
Dude, I just saw that shit. I'm so hyped.
I
They
have
fucked
not
smokes
played.
though.
The smokes are weird. Like I
That seems like they're gonna be useless because I'ma just spray through the
yeah, you
smoke
can
and
just
then I will just see through the smoke. Oh shit! I'll just see through the smoke.
yeah. I mean, I love the idea of it being like an actual object in the game with a little like
Hmm.
so everyone sees it the same way. But and even the grenades blowing it up are fine. But I think that being able to just shoot the smoke away, that's gonna be abused.
Dude, anyone with an SMG smokes aren't real to them anymore.
They don't
they're
exist.
just
No.
they're just free. So that'll be fun. One ways, no more one ways though. So that's interesting. That's a
Yeah.
change for sure.
I don't know. I appreciate that it's just generally just an overhaul. I think that if it was just
Yeah,
an entirely new game, I probably wouldn't play it. I haven't touched CS:GO.
real.
I haven't touched CS:GO in a couple months, but I'm gonna come back for this at the very least.
I mean, I feel like everyone is, right?
I
Like,
mean,
I've
yeah.
been playing more CS recently because couldn't even tell you, but I've been playing more CS recently and it's kind of fun.
There's never a
So,
good reason to. You always just get back into it, and it's like, all right, this
yeah,
is a thing now for the next couple months until you inevitably
yeah.
drop it again.
Till you get so pissed off at matchmaking.
Yeah, yeah, I know too much about that. Um, but so in terms of starting off, making music and kind of like getting involved with groups of like-minded individuals that are kind of creating sounds that also interest you, I suppose, where did you first like kick off with like an official brand? Like where does, the name Nico originate from, and is what is like the, I guess, defined version for its stylization?
um, Nico is my first name.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's I've never been good at coming up with usernames. So I literally just added numbers until the SoundCloud URL wasn't taken.
I listen. I understand. My artist name. I'm the same way. My artist name is just my middle name. Melmige is just my middle
Nice.
name. So it's like, all right, that's easy enough. That's out of the way.
Hmm.
So adding numbers until it was no longer taken, until it was available. Would you say that your artistic brand and username is akin to an Xbox Live username? Is that what I'm
Very
is
similar.
that what I'm
Very
hearing?
similar. That's what you're hearing.
I'm surprised there's not a couple like X's before and after.
Nah, I'm not that fucked up with it. I tried to keep it like looking okay. I wanted N3K0, but there's this one dude who hasn't been active on SoundCloud or Twitter for like a billion years who has
Oh,
that
you hate to
URL.
see it. That's how it always
Yeah, I
is. It's
know.
never somebody that's like active.
Mm-mm.
But
If that guy ever deactivates, I'm changing my whole shit though.
absolutely, you gotta strike
Hmm.
while the iron's hot, or while the
Oh
coals are
God.
hot. I don't know the phrase.
But no, that's right. I think.
But so speaking of sound, even in your earliest tracks, the sound you've developed today is still prevalent. Listening to those older songs with these hyper pop and electronic sounds. So what, I guess, draws you to the genre and sound, and like what compels you to create music in that area?
When I first heard that kind of music, I was super interested by it. It was unlike anything I'd really heard before, and more than that, all my friends were hating on it, so that kind of that kind of drove me to enjoy it more. Because I pretty much just adopted this mindset, like y'all don't fuck with this now, but in like 2 years you will. And I ended up being right. And I don't know, it's just kind of also the music I know how to make, like because it's the music I was listening to and am listening to. So I really just open FL and try my best. Like I'm not trying to adhere to a certain song like style or
Yeah.
genre. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the prediction was correct. Hyperpop and related genres are bigger than ever. And all of these genres that kind of, I suppose, fall under the umbrella term of like internet core, this kind of wave of music that's only grown bigger in the past few years. Like, how do you view the upwards trend in the music, and how do you think the like digital and synthesized sound has impacted the landscape of music, especially in the underground scene?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of artists were inspired by like a lot of the people who are making this early on, and like you can hear that in everywhere from like super small artists like them 20 follower SoundClouds you find that have a fire ass song to like if you listen to that new Destroy Lonely, you can tell that bro also listens to the same shit. So like it's kind of just cool how it's been making waves across like the underground and even to like more established artists, and I think it's only going to keep going. Maybe.
I mean, that's what it's looking like for sure. I feel like in recent years it's definitely sort of dominated as the like predominant underground genre. It was emo trap for so long, and
Hmm.
now everybody and their mother is making hyperpop now.
They all shouldn't be though.
They shouldn't be. Oh,
Some people gotta hang it up.
this sounds like a hot take. Why shouldn't they be? And also, can you name specific names?
Oh, you trying to get me in trouble? You trying to get me in trouble?
Yeah, can you name
But
specific people so I can also like tag them in the Twitter post when this interview is inevitably posted?
hell fucking no. But what I can say is that I hear a lot of people whose music is entirely derivative, and you can hear exactly what they are wanting to sound like because it sounds exactly like the songs that they listen to. And while that's fine, and I got nothing against it as long as it's good, a lot of it's not.
So in a way, do you think that the explosion of the genre has almost been a detriment to the general mainstream sound of it that people tend to hear before anything else?
I would say so. I would say so. There's a lot of people who want to be Eric DOA for some reason, and
I mean,
that's all
yeah.
I got to say.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like artists like Eric DOA, like Glaive or like Breakins, and while all three of these artists do have deviations in their sounds and they have sounds that are theirs, I feel like those are kind of like some of the big names that when somebody is like, oh, I would like to make hyperpop now, that's kind of where they go to for that direct inspiration. And as you put it,
Yeah.
sometimes derivative music.
I mean, and like I said, like I think derivative music is fine, and I'm not
Hmm.
trying to like stop anyone from making art for sure.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
make
for
whatever you
sure.
want to make, but it's just a lot of it isn't good.
I like it if it's good. It's just that most of it isn't.
They, I feel like a hater, but I kind of am one. So
Nah, you know what? See, here's the thing. I'm not confrontational. I don't talk shit about anybody. I sure would like to sometimes though.
fair
So
enough.
I gotta bring people onto my channel to talk shit for me sometimes.
Hell yeah. Hey, if you want to send me a little message, anyone you want to hate on, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll start like just sending you texts about just like
Yeah,
people to name drop for me.
I'm not name dropping no one.
Earlier, you had a bit of a negative reaction to Razor Blades. I could see it. I could see that you had a bit of a negative reaction.
Yeah.
So how do you view those early tracks like Razor Blades or like Chems Wave, and how do you think that your perspective and creative process has evolved since those early tracks?
I mean, I feel like when I was posting like razor blades and chems, I was still like trying to figure out how FL worked and like trying to figure out how to record properly. My shit was like vertical for like 500 lines. Like shit was not good. And I was really just trying to figure out what I was doing in general. I was kind of just throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks type. And I keep them up because people listen to them and I don't want to like who am I to like take it down at this point? It's not really like entirely my song anymore, like
Yeah.
the way I see it. But I feel like I've definitely gotten better at actually using my DAW and just having a real creative process instead of just like punching in bars.
All right. And also just in terms of your discography as a whole, you seem to release music at a fairly consistent rate. So what is your creative process when it comes to making songs, and how do you, I guess, maintain the inspiration to release at such a consistent and steady pace?
I really like making music. It's like my only like productive hobby that I have besides like playing video games and very productive. And I used to do graphic design, but I don't really do a lot of that anymore. And it kind of just overtook as like the main creative thing that I do. And I'd say I'm kind of a creative person, so it's always just up here. And as far as like the creative process goes, I'd be mentally ill, so I have a lot of shit to speak about. I'd be addicted
Yeah.
to drugs, so that's another thing to talk about. And yeah, I don't know. I just always I use it as like a vent almost, like
Yeah, it's
to
just
talk
always
about my
something to talk
problems.
about.
And shit. Yeah,
As long as problems exist, so is music pretty much.
on God.
You kind of touched a little bit on the next question, which was, I suppose, non-musical influences that inspire your music, or just general hobbies that you have outside of it.
Um, I'd be wearing cool clothes. That's my main other
All
hobby.
right.
Yeah, I
Oh
try to dress
yeah.
well. It's kind of fun. And my main like musical inspirations, I guess, are just like other people that I know that also make music. And I do a lot of drugs. I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to chill. I really am. But lots of drugs, lots of mental illness. I'm in love, so that's something to talk about.
How sweet.
And yeah,
A lot of things to pull from here. And you just recently dropped Perfect Match, which is this kind of like super dreamy and airy song, and it seems to be a bit of a observation and self-reflection on yourself, as well as maybe like a retrospective on some problematic relationships that have taken place in the past. How was
most
the
certainly.
process of like writing the song, and what was like the main goal or theme that you wanted to get across?
Um, I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
I don't write songs. I
Oh
just
my
punch them in.
gosh. Oh
like
my gosh. This has turned into
the
an expose.
yeah, it really has. It really has. But I guess Perfect Match was like three other songs that I just straight deleted because they were bad, like on the same beat before I got there. And I guess I was more reflecting on like dumbass decisions I've made in the past. And it's kind of a love song. I wanted to be more of a love song than it ended up being, but I just kind of finished it off in like a different way than I originally intended.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of fine. I kind of like the way that I make music because it makes it more organic, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I've actually, that sentiment has been shared by like a lot of people that I've talked to, where instead of writing down music or writing down lyrics, even if they did at one point, instead of that, it's just kind of more like a freestyle thing, or just kind of going with the beat or going with the flow of things.
Mhm.
So so you view that as a more, I guess, productive way to get out music and make it more organic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also a couple months ago, you dropped Hero, which was your first EP, first project in general,
Hmm.
or at least the only public one that I'm aware of. How do
It's the only
you
one.
Okay, how do you view and differentiate the process of making singles and making songs that are to be fit on a project?
I made. I'm gonna give you a little backstory. I started making Hero when I was 17. I'm 20 now. So, like, the first song I made it when I was 17, and then I turned 18 and made the next two. I made the last one when I was like 19, or like still 18. I might have been 19. I might have been 18. I don't remember. But it was a collaborative effort between me, 1.2, and Aaron E3. And I would say that the main difference between recording like a single and recording a project is that recording a project is absolutely infuriating for me. And I like that shit took like 2 years to come out, and I'm honestly not very proud of what it is. Like, I could have done better, and I feel I'll always think this way about like that project specifically. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about other projects because I haven't made any, but like, yeah.
Well, so and I guess in that case, with if each song was made with such like a long distance of time between them, how would you say that they relate to each other? Like what do you think releasing all of these songs together as one project could accomplish that releasing them by themselves couldn't accomplish?
I mean, it's kind of like the project's kind of just about like growing up. Like, the first song was about, well, all the songs were kind of about like a fucked relationship that I was in at the time. And that was no good. Not on me, thankfully. That was no good on her. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like by putting them all together, it's kind of like to show growth of both me as a person and me as an artist. Cause like last song versus first song, or yeah, whatever. First song versus last song, like there's a quality difference in my opinion. There's also like a difference in like the type of sound that there is, and just like the themes of it, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Um and also I'm moving away from moving away a bit from the solo discography. You are also a member of Plus Plus and Dollhaven.
Yeah.
What's it been like being a part of these groups, and how do you think that it's affected your music, either directly in terms of sound or a little more indirectly in terms of your mindset towards the creative process?
I made Plus Plus with a bunch of friends. That's like my collective.
Hell yeah.
And they've been my good friends since like ninth grade of high school. So like I love those guys. They're all the best. They've just been like more like a pillar of my life more than anything else. And like it's super cool to get to work with them on music. We all got into music at like around the same time, so that's super fun. And then Dollhaven, when I joined, I was like super hyped. I got to meet a bunch of cool artists that I liked, and I think it specifically Spiri Nine, one of the people in there, really helped me like figure out what I was doing musically, and she's a big hater. So she would just hate on my shit. Well, that's good though, because
Yeah.
like a lot of people won't do that, and a lot of people will just be like, "Nah, this hard," when it is not. So I'm glad
A
that
lot of
I
yes
had people
men.
like checking me.
Yeah, it's nice to have that because I do think that's a very common thing where it's like the biggest critique you receive to a song is like, oh yeah, bro, this shit fire.
Hmm.
Or like, fix the mix. How?
Or I like the beat.
Oh yeah, beats good.
Man,
That makes
come
me feel.
on.
I hate when people say that to me. I don't produce my own beats. I
Neither
don't.
do I.
If I send a song to somebody and they're like, "Oh, the beat's fire," it's like, "Wow, my vocals must have
It's like,
sucked."
wow, I gotta kill myself.
Yeah, no, that must have
Yeah,
just been a horrific vocal performance from me. Apparently, if the only
yeah.
thing they liked was the one part I didn't do,
On God, that's how I feel a lot of the time when people say that.
it's soul crushing. It feels horrible.
Really is, really is.
And then I guess a bit of a broader question here. 2023, we're 3 months in. We've got a couple more to go at the very least. What are you hoping to accomplish with your music this year? Or what are you even hoping to accomplish outside of music as well?
Um, I don't know. I just want to keep posting. Honestly, I gotta start posting on like actual all platforms because I have a DistroKid account. I'm just lazy as fuck.
Same thing. I have
And
DistroKid. I do not post on like Spotify or anything like that.
dude, it's just so easy to just post on SoundCloud.
It
It's
takes
too
it's two
simple.
clicks.
Take moments, truly. But I don't know. I kind of just want to keep making music and hope that I get better, like as I practice more. And also, I'm in college right now. I'm going for a degree in psychology, so I hope I can
Hell
keep all
yeah.
that up. Hell yeah.
All right, I got one for you. Why psychology?
Mm, interested in how the brain works. That's always been like interest of mine. I was gonna go into computer science, and then I realized I was fucking tweaking, thinking I could do all that bullshit. And instead, psychology seems cool. A lot of my family's in the medical field, so yeah.
Okay, okay. And I guess what would be like a goal? You know, if Nico were to hit a goal this year, whether it
I want to
be
hit a K on SoundCloud.
you want to get a 1,000,
Yeah,
you're like what like 730, 750 right now.
724, 23, something like
I
that.
think 1,000 is pretty achievable.
I think so too. I think I can do it.
I think it's pretty. And you know, you could get back in, become a professional Source 2 player, CS:GO player.
Oh fuck no.
Go back. You can go back to your roots.
Yeah, I mean, I'm washed now. I used to be a lot better. I'm playing CS again. I'm washed, dude. I'm an MG1. No good.
Well,
No good.
they got rid of tick rates, so there's nothing to blame anymore.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Because then what am I gonna
Yeah,
blame?
exactly. There's no scapegoat anymore. If my shots don't hit, I can't just yell about
The
64
tick
take.
rating. You yell about ping still.
That's true. I could always just blame it
Hmm.
on. There's always something to blame it on.
Always your team. Always the issue.
No, every
Worst
time.
part about that game is that it's a team game.
The worst part about that game is that my team sucks every time, no matter what.
Oh
No matter how
god.
I'm performing. If I'm at the
Oh
bottom of the
god.
leaderboard, my team still sucks, and it's their fault we're losing.
Mm-hmm. You get
Um,
it.
so at about 20 minutes, I think that might just wrap things up. I think that I've asked you what I've wanted to ask you, and I think that you've provided some very adequate ansers. So thank you so much.
Nice. Nice.
Before we
Wait, I
head
got a
out,
question for you.
you have a question for me.
Yeah.
Uh oh.
What got you into making this like YouTube channel type situation?
Uh, that's a good question that I'm gonna try to answer in under 1,000 words here.
Okay, feel free to go over.
Okay, so in terms of content creation surrounding music and artists and sort of the whole sphere as a whole, especially on the internet, there doesn't really seem to be any sort of market or I guess online demand for content creation centered around the underground. You have a lot of big
Yeah.
artists that are big content creators that will talk about mainstream music, and sometimes they'll dive a little bit further into, I guess, lesser mainstream things. Like, but I don't really view like the Needle Drop reviewing 100 Gex new album as like underground
Not
representation.
really
And
underground,
I
yeah.
do love 100 Gex. I love them, but
Hmm.
that's like, to me, that's not like really diving in. And so what I wanted to do is kind of combine my passion for content creation and my passion for music and talk about the people that normally aren't given the time of day. So many artists exist, especially on SoundCloud and Bandcamp and these kind of like corners of the internet with very little follower counts, very little listens, but they still have the talent and the personality to be deserved to listen to. So
Oh yeah.
basically, I just want to talk about people that don't normally get the time of day when they are the ones, because the underground, like, these are the people that are pushing boundaries and experimenting, that are shaping the landscape of music,
Hmm.
and not a lot of them have ever really had the experience to be talked about as a legitimate artist. Most of the feedback they receive is from their friends, and so it's very rare for them to see themselves be talked about in like an objective light. And I know that music's subjective, but like in an objective light. So that's really my goal.
Hell yeah.
It's beneficial. I get to talk about what I love the most, and underground artists get to be talked about. So
Awesome.
it's like a mutual. I don't know what the biology term is, but it's a mutual relationship in a way.
Yeah, it's good for both people, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just, so many people deserve to be talked about that don't.
I'd agree. I think this whole YouTube channel thing you're doing is sick.
Thank
Also, I
you.
have a follow-up question.
All right, hit me with it.
Do you want to hear a song? It's unreleased.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Hold on. Um, how the fuck? There we go. Tap in, gang.
Are we putting this in the interview?
You can. It's coming out next
exclusive.
Tuesday, which is the 27th of March.
All right, well, we can do a bit of an exclusive release here to finish things off.
Oh God! Here, I'm gonna play a song.
All right, let's hear it.
And these are the lyrics. I'm not sure if you can see them.
I got them cropped, but I could probably just put them on screen afterwards and in post.
All the same. Cover.
Step up in the flesh, that's why you bloody. You gon' need a stitch, and you keep on talking funny. You a little bitch. I got things and I got money. I don't need your shit, and your songs are at best funny. You should probably quit. Got some shit on the hill and the conversation. He got a lip, he got a hit, and that's all I'm saying. I've been counting on my digits, see how it before. Give a fuck about the limits, but another four. And I do it cause I need it, I don't want some more. I say it don't make sense when you talk, when you move. Told him I don't make friends, not him, not you. And my pockets full of blues, this shit looking like the great flood. Wanna die for profit, then just go and try to take one. Take them off, I got hoes, they tryna get up in my jeans. Every time they come around, I say, bitch, you're not for me. And I'm smoking straight sound, Tropicana cookies. And I'm smoking straight sound, Tropicana cookies. Step up in the functions, my shit bloody. You gon' need a stitch, and you keep on talking funny. You a little bitch. I got things and I got money. I don't need your shit, and your songs are at best funny. You should probably quit.
Yeah.
And there you have it. That's an
There you have it.
exclusive Nico unreleased, which you said that was dropping the 27th.
The 27th. Yeah.
All right, everyone that's watching, go listen to that when it drops. And what was the song called?
Tropicana cookies.
Tropicana Cookies. That's a weed strain, isn't it?
It is. I looked that shit up.
I knew it. I knew that was a weed strain. It just I could
There
tell.
we go.
All right, before we head out, anything you want to plug, promote? Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, 1N3K0 on every social media platform except for Instagram where it's 1N3KO. And I have a couple of people that wanted a shout out. So shout out my friend. Well, first shout out Quinn, shout out 1.2, shout out Mel, shout out Dents on Instagram, shout out my bro Carlos, shout out he in Thailand right now actually. Interesting shit.
All right.
Shout out Dollhaven plus plus, all them guys. Shout out. Oh yeah, and also I'm hosting URL Fest. It's coming in mid-April. So we
There
got
you go.
78 members. You guys know all of them. There are no mid artists. So
No
Yeah.
mid artists. You said 78?
yeah, it's like we have like over 24 hours of music.
Oh my god, that's that's a lot. That's really big.
It's the biggest one we can find.
Well, all right. We'll be looking forward to that then too.
Hell yeah.
I'll be there the whole 24 hours.
Please don't do that to yourself. That
take-
would be
I'm gonna take like 5-minute naps between sets. So over the course of the 24 hours, I'll have like maybe
well,
like
we're probably gonna split it up over a couple days. So hopefully everyone can see everyone if if they want to.
it'd be
But,
fucking
like,
crazy just to have 24 straight hours of music.
we were thinking about it.
It'd truly
But that would
be-
require me being up for 24 hours, which is fuck.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, thanks so much for talking today.
Of course, bro. I'll see you.
See ya.
Stay right by my side like you wanna